Welcome to Managerial Psychology. We are going to talk about Hasbro and Hasbro Interactive. In today's presentation, we mainly focus on three parts: Hasbro Introduction, Issues Analysis, and Recommendations. Hasbro was founded in 1923 by Henry Hassenfeld and is an American multinational toy and board game company. It is one of the largest toy makers in the world. Hasbro Interactive was formed in 1995 as an independent division led by Tom Dusenberry. It had experienced strong growth from 1997 to 1998 from $35 million to $196 million. In 4 years, Hasbro Interactive's revenue increased by 577%. However, in January 2001, Hasbro sold 100% of Hasbro Interactive to the French software company Infogrames. There are four main issues that contributed to the debacle of Hasbro Interactive, including communication issues, goal-setting issues, leadership issues, and conflict issues. The first issue is communication issue. According to the functional theory of communication, firms or organizations are considered as logical information processing systems. Thus, through practical information distributive systems, distortion of information from stage to stage could be identified and eradicated. In case problems concerning organizational communication exist, there might be the result of misleading messages, improper transmissions of information, and failure in communication between personnel. Based on the comprehensive analysis of Hasbro Interactive case study, there were two communication issues that contributed to the failure of Hasbro Interactive. The first issue was the miscommunication between Hasbro Interactive staff and Mrs. Jane in monopoly promotion with the Burger King. And the second communication problem was the forceful financial restriction of Mrs. Jackie Daya on Hasbro Interactive. In the year of 1999, when Chief Financial Officer Mr. Villaccia expressed his concern over Hasbro Interactive financial monitoring system, Mrs. Daya was assigned by Mr. Ball to keep an eye on the Hasbro Interactive finance. Coming from financial background, Mrs. Daya started to take an aggressive approach to manage Hasbro Interactive inventory within only a few days after starting work at Hasbro Interactive. In order to get financial monitoring system back on track, she suddenly implemented an exact financial system to collect inventory information by asking Hasbro Interactive employees to transfer all the inventory data from paperwork to a new financial program without any consultation with Mr. Dusenberry. The consequences of that miscommunication were detrimental to Hasbro Interactive. Mrs. Daya's approach was not welcomed by Hasbro Interactive staff. Mr. Dusenberry described the impact of her approach on his business unit as a disaster. Furthermore, Hasbro Interactive staff saw Mrs. Daya's impractical financial reporting software as an impediment of creativity and innovation that leads to poor performance of Hasbro Interactive, and they started to lose confidence in Hasbro leadership. Now let's begin with the first issue, the miscommunication between Hasbro Interactive staff and Mrs. Jane in monopoly promotion with the Burger King. In 1998, Hasbro Interactive already had a monopoly promotion deal with McDonald's. However, without any consultation with Mrs. Parson, who was a Hasbro's licensing agreement manager, Hasbro Interactive staff had signed another advertisement contract with Burger King, which worked in the same sector as McDonald's. The redundant expense on advertisement deal caused by miscommunication with licensing experts had brought a great loss in finance, and more importantly, senior executives of Hasbro started to lose confidence on Hasbro Interactive staff. Another miscommunication issue that had brought Hasbro Interactive employees to have a controversial relationship was a sudden financial restriction of Mrs. Jackie Daya on Hasbro Interactive. In the year of 1999, when Chief Financial Officer Mr. Villaccia expressed his concern over Hasbro Interactive financial monitoring system, Mrs. Daya was assigned by Mr. Ball to keep an eye on the Hasbro Interactive's finance. Coming from the financial background, Mrs. Daya started to take an aggressive approach to manage Hasbro Interactive inventories within only a few days after starting work at Hasbro Interactive. In order to get financial monitoring system back on track, she suddenly implemented an exact financial system to collect inventory information by asking Hasbro Interactive employees to transfer all the inventory data from paperwork to a new financial program without any consultation with Mr. Dusenberry. The consequences of that miscommunication were detrimental to Hasbro Interactive. Mrs. Daya's approach was not welcomed by Hasbro Interactive staff. Mr. Dusenberry described the impact of her approach on his business unit as a disaster. Furthermore, Hasbro Interactive staff saw Mrs. Daya's impractical financial reporting software as an impediment of creativity and innovation that leads to poor performance of Hasbro Interactive, and they started to lose confidence in Hasbro's leadership. The second issue is about goal setting. Since Hasbro Interactive had its revenues boomed from 1997 to 1998, Mr. Dusenberry and some executives gained ambition to achieve more. A goal of reaching 1 billion revenues within 3 years was set. The huge gap between reality and the goal made it difficult to achieve. Besides, there was no sufficient strategic plan. Therefore, Hasbro Interactive was easily influenced by Wall Street, which led to business failure. In this case, Hasbro Interactive hadn't set foundational goals, but a capstone goal directly. However, long-term goals would be hard to reach without specific short-term goals as stepping stones. Also, since the market was changeable, the long-term goal should be amended according to the situation. Even though Hasbro Interactive had experienced a loss in revenues, no one changed the goals, which led to greater loss. Moreover, although goals are normally designed to motivate people to achieve higher results, goals should be realistic. However, since the 1 billion goal was more emotional and extremely challengeable when meeting difficulties, several senior executives began to lose confidence. Thus, the lofty goal could not motivate people, but made them feel worried. Additionally, because Hasbro Interactive had no specific strategic plans, Wall Street easily influenced it. Under the pressure of Wall Street, Hasbro blindly investigated more in Hasbro Interactive, which damaged the long-term health. The third issue is Mr. Dusenberry's poor leadership. Mr. Dusenberry's CFO failed to manage Hasbro Interactive's financial monitoring system, and Mr. Dusenberry felt he was above concern about financial details because he only wanted to focus on the future. He failed to make a decision that CFO should spend more time on the future instead of financial system. Mr. Dusenberry said that my career goal was to end up with Alan Hassenfeld's job. It could be concluded that Mr. Dusenberry is ambitious. His working environment has reinforced this kind of personality. By looking through Mr. Dusenberry's career path, he did very successful in gaming industry, and the success reinforced him to go further. My strongest skill is leadership. Hasbro Interactive allowed me to let my leadership ability unfold. This is Mr. Dusenberry's self-perception of himself. As for self-concept and self-esteem, Mr. Dusenberry described himself as a person who has a strong leadership and can make all operational decisions. As for social perception, Dave described Mr. Dusenberry as he was a perfect manager for these businesses. Mr. Hassenfeld appreciated his creativity and capability. Mr. Ball also admired Mr. Dusenberry. Tom had a great strength for bringing his people together, and he was a good team leader. It could be assumed that the perception of ability of Mr. Dusenberry from Mr. Ball and Wilson is from past impressions and experience of working together. However, both self-perception and social perception could lead to overconfidence biases. According to the case, it could be assumed that the culture of Hasbro is also ambitious, as it was innovative and always develops new business in industry. Therefore, in this case, Mr. Dusenberry had too much confidence of his leadership, and so he believed that every decision he made was right, and Mr. Board and other managers believed that Mr. Dusenberry has the ability to make decisions, so they did not intervene. Together with the corporate culture, Mr. Dusenberry made wrong decisions because of overconfidence bias. It could be said that the most important indicator of measuring the performance of a firm or a project team is the financial system and financial condition. The financial system within Hasbro Interactive should be well managed by Mr. Dusenberry CFO because it is one of his jobs. However, Mr. Dusenberry's CFO did not have time to do that because he was so busy valuing acquisition targets. It also can be assumed that not efficiently managing financial monitoring system is okay and was approved by Mr. Dusenberry because Mr. Dusenberry did not care too much. Therefore, it contributed to the failure of Hasbro Interactive. Last but not least, conflict issues also contributed to the failure of Hasbro Interactive. Mr. Bo hired Daya to be the new CFO and asked her to keep a watchful eye on costs. Mrs. Daya then started using more exact financial systems which were unpopular among employees. Speaking of the personality of the people involved, since Mrs. Daya warned that the division was going to fall far short of expectations for the year within only a few days of starting work and decisively using new financial system, we know that she far-sighted enough to find out these firms' weaknesses and motivated enough to take actions to change the status quo, control the costs, and reduce losses. Although her policy was unpopular among employees, she still steadfast in her opinion, which the capital flow should be strictly controlled. She was responsible, firm, and manful. If Mrs. Daya was as ambitious as Mr. Dusenberry, she would not quickly realize the financial problems and react to them. Because Mrs. Daya was a more realistic and object person, she can compartmentalize her emotion and insisted on implement her policy. Employees thought that Mrs. Daya's action would hinder their innovation, so that they resisted her action, which leads to a conflict between employees and the management at last. Conflicts between employees and the CFO can distract employees' goal from organization's goal, which would decrease staff productivity. Furthermore, the conflicts between the new CFO and other employees are intergroup conflicts. The conflicts was owing to different perception of corporation operation and their own roles that CFO wanted to control costs, while other employees intended to improve overall performance. This kind of conflict is a dysfunctional conflict, which resulted in more distrust and less collaboration. Therefore, the conflicts are one of the most important reasons that Hasbro Interactive failed at last. 4 recommendations were generated to address issues that I mentioned before. The first recommendation is for improving communication. In order to strengthen communication within Hasbro and Hasbro Interactive, there are 3 steps of recommendations suggested as following. Step 1. The information sharing system between staff in Hasbro and Hasbro Interactive must be improved by strengthening horizontal, upward, and downward relationships to maintain strong working spirit for all employees and to avoid loss in terms of profit as seen in the case of a monopoly promotion redundancy with McDonald's and Burger King. Step 2. Another way to improve the communication is to strengthen dialogue culture between colleagues in Hasbro Interactive. By this means, the controversy in the workplace will be minimized. The aggressive launch of the new financial system by Mrs. Daya is the best example for this case. The tension would not be too strong if Mrs. Daya was asking for Mr. Dusenberry's opinion before implementing her new financial monitoring system. Step 3. To improve communication among staff of Hasbro and Hasbro Interactive, it is advised that they should conduct regular meetings to be attended by key personnel to share important notices and let them express their concerns over issues that may distort the effective flow of information. The second recommendation is for goal setting. Hasbro Interactive should set annual goals that are challenging but reachable, and generate related strategic plans along with the annual goals to ensure the implementation. The first step is making analysis of past experiences, current situation, and the future prediction in order to provide evidence for setting proper goals. The second step is holding a meeting to discuss the goals and the strategic plans. The third step is arranging regular meetings for evaluation, which aims to monitor the implementation. The last step is amending the goals and the plans according to the evaluation. The third recommendation is for leadership development. In order to improve Mr. Dusenberry's leadership skill, training and the development plan should be provided in Hasbro. Step 1. Identify the leadership competencies to be improved for Mr. Dusenberry. According to the case, Mr. Dusenberry is not good at decision-making and team management. He only focused on the future but ignored the team management and the goal. Step 2. After identifying the competencies to be improved, Hasbro could design appropriate development plan. For instance, as for decision-making, Hasbro could have a simulation scenario for Mr. Dusenberry to practice. Team management class could be provided to Mr. Dusenberry as well. Step 3, implement the plan. Step 4, after the training session, feedback should be collected from Mr. Dusenberry and his subordinate as well as supervisors. Besides, feedback should be evaluated to check the success of the training session. The last recommendation is for mitigating conflicts. We recommended Hasbro to choose an unbiased mediator to resolve the conflicts. Step 1. To resolve conflicts, the firm is recommended to choose a mediator who is not involved and unbiased to solve the contradiction. According to the research, it says that the mediator's job is to help two involved groups keep communicating and reach agreement themselves. Hence, the mediator should keep objective and remember that it could not be judged. Step 2. The mediator and the management could set a timeline to supervise the course of events. Step 3. Ask all involved parties to present their thoughts and requests with supporting evidence and information calmly and friendly. Step 4. Encourage all involved parties to comprehend other groups' requirements so that some new ideas may come out. Step 5. Keep a record of every meeting's interviews and documents so that the firm could review and learn from its mistakes. That is all our presentation. Thanks for watching. We are Team Beyond HR.